soon as it says it's okay. All right, we're on. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first meeting of the Community Preservation Committee for January 3rd, 2023. Happy New Year. Tonight's meeting is, I don't know why I said that. My name is Karen Lee, and I'm the administrative consultant for the committee. And Bob McCarroll is our chair, and he will introduce the rest of the committee. So thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight.
Well, thank you, Karen, and welcome everyone to Zoom. It's good that we have a Zoom meeting tonight because yesterday I got diagnosed with COVID. So I'm home isolating for 5 days. Yeah, I felt a cold coming on Sunday night, and a friend brought by a test yesterday, and I took it, and it's like, uh-oh. So anyway, so
Are you
present
feeling
so
sick?
far. Pardon?
Are you feeling sick?
Well, yeah, but not bad. I mean, in pre-COVID days, I would have just said this is a winter cold. I got a runny nose and a cough, and I sneeze occasionally, and I feel stuffy. Short of that, on day 2 of it, that's all it is. I hope it doesn't get any worse, but my physician has ordered me to pick up some Paxlovid, or however one pronounces it. So I'll probably start taking that tomorrow. But if we had to meet in person, I would not be there today. Joining us on tonight's meeting. So thank you.
Yes,
so
sir.
We have Juanita Martinez, who represents the Conservation Commission, Gloria DiFilippo, who represents the Planning Board, Ralph Slate, a neighborhood representative, Willie Thomas, who represents the Housing Authority, Clinton Harris, who represents the Park Commission. Logging on is Rhonda Sherrill, who's another neighborhood representative, and I, Bob McCarroll, represent the Springfield Preservation Trust. There are a couple of other committee members that may be logging in as the meeting goes on. So the first order of business is to adopt the minutes that Karen sent out for our December 3rd meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All right. So we'll take the vote. We'll start with you, Clinton.
Yes.
Ralph.
Yes.
Juanita.
Yes.
Gloria.
Yes.
Rhonda.
Yes.
Willie.
Yes.
And Bob is a yes. So the major piece of business on tonight's agenda is to look at the application and the instructions for the 2020 application cycle. Karen had sent that out to everyone, and I think she's now putting it up. And assuming everyone's happy with it, it will go live in the next week or so that folks that are interested in applying in this cycle, whose deadline is, I think, March 30th, will be able to have it sooner than later. So, Karen, do you want to either lead us through that or see if any committee members have a question or a comment?
Sure. So what, here, let me put this up on the screen so you can see what I'm talking about. All right, so this is the revised application. It's only 2 pages long. Whoop, wrong one. It's only 2 pages long, the new one, and that is on the Springfield City website as a temporary placeholder. So the application, since I don't know how many of you had an opportunity to actually look at the application. So I'm going to just bring it up then. In the meantime, while we do that, did you look at the revision of the
Instructions?
Yeah, the instructions as well as the studies, if you want to look at that while I'm pulling this up.
I looked at what you sent, Karen. I didn't go out and try to do the application. Everything looked fine to me.
Okay.
Did other people have a chance to look at the paragraph that talks about studies? And are we comfortable with the wording?
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah, so am I. I think it addresses the issues we had, but it also lets them know that they need a little more than just, just asking for the money for the study. I think it was well worded.
Yes, I did have a chance to read it as well.
Okay, great.
I agree with it. I read it. It was well written, and I had a question or two about the timeline for the actual project to begin was about 5 years. And I wonder whether or not that was a little long or not, but I can live with it.
Okay. It's coming up. See, the little gear shaft is working hard.
Well, while we're waiting for it to come up, let me just give an update to the committee on the Department of Revenue distribution. I don't know if you got the email that came out today from the coalition. The state made the special distribution, distributing the $20 million of surplus state revenue to the CPA communities. And so we've received $155,000 from that distribution. And on top of the regular distribution that came out in November, we've received 38.5% funding from the state. So the bottom line is we have a little bit more money from DOR than we had thought when we made the budget. Last time we talked about, they gave us less in November than we had planned. And what do? And it turns out that with this special distribution, because of the state budget surplus, we have more than we planned. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, great.
Thing gift from Baker.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so this is the application. When they're on the website, they would click on this application. There's an introduction. And it tells you you're advised to review the resources, the DOR chart. And then before beginning the application, read the instruction and information pages on the website. And when you click that on, it brings you to our website. I just may not have the bandwidth to be toggling through these links. Yeah, okay, so it pulls up the application and you'll see that this one is only 2 pages long, or 2.5 pages long. But it contains all of the information that was on the original application, and what it doesn't contain is then incorporated into this application. Like, for instance, all of this wording here, that is it's a help box, so they can read it, understand what it says, but when the application is printed, it doesn't print. So they get all the information, but it doesn't take up room on the application. So when you receive it, you just get really about 3 pages for the whole application. And it has links to open up the fair wage certificate. Thank you again, Ralph, for that, for helping me out with the PDF. They can upload the fair wage certificate, electronically sign it, and then upload it to the application. Same thing with the maps and checking their parcel ID. So it's all linked in here. When you click this link, it brings you to the city website that has all the boards and commissions, the page there, so they can look to see what it is. And here, click for neighborhood information. That brings you up to the city page with all the neighborhoods in it. They have a choice here of uploading the narrative, or they could type it in if they choose to. Same thing with the project description. And one thing I added up here is the neighborhood where the project is proposed. That's a drop-down box so that we can collect that information. And when you look at the CPA program, so if you were to click on community housing, only the community housing questions will come up.
That's really good because that won't be as confusing for people.
Yeah.
They
so,
think,
all
feel
right.
like they might have to add the other, unless they're doing two, but you said it can handle two, right?
Right, so let's click on historic resources and open space. So then this comes up. Actually, I think I'm missing a title here. So I'll add that. So this would be the historic. And it gives you that information, and then it gives you the open space and outdoor questions. And if you click off one of them, then one of them disappears.
And Karen, on the neighborhood drop-down, is citywide also an option for them to select?
There's an other.
Oh,
Do you-
okay.
Do you want me to add citywide? I can do that.
Why don't you add citywide? Just imagine the Office of Housing's Home Buyer Assistance Program is a citywide program.
Okay, I can do that.
So add that in, but leave the other. I don't know what other would be, but we may find that there is a category. And let me just say at this point, Neighborhood Representative Lamar Cook has arrived. Welcome, Lamar. Happy New Year.
Thanks, Bob. Happy New Year, everyone.
Okay, so applicant, pretty self-explanatory. So I don't know, I mean, do you see anything that you feel is missing or you want to add? The only tricky part, I think, and I checked with the Cognito Forms help email. So they have a couple options here. The save button, which is this save button right here, will save the application. And then the next screen will come up with your email. And you'll get an automatic response where you can click and save and pull it up later and go back to it, which is a nice feature. But they have to make a
Karen?
decision. Yes.
Is there any way, I mean, suppose somebody wants all this in hard copy.
Mhm.
Can they do that? I mean, is there a way of doing that, or do you just print it out? But then if they print it out, they can't go into all the,
Right, they would have to type in the browser to find that information. I suppose I could print that information, right?
mean-
A list of the neighborhoods but I mean, the parcel ID, they would have to log into the GIS system for that.
but they could start this
Mhm.
and then suppose they want to work on it several days. They can save it? Is there?
Yeah, so there's a save button and then a link will be mailed to you so you can open it back up. And once you open it back up, if you wanted to just print the application as is and then fill it out by hand, you could do that. But once you submit the application, it gives you the final application, which is in a PDF format, and it's submitted. So the in-between step is what I asked about. Like if you could save it and then go back to the application.
Because I
While
was
you're-
thinking like sometimes some of these applications, people apply, but they're not only one person doing this, there may be several. You know,
Right.
several people working on the application.
So they could use the same link, I think, when it's sent to them. All right, let me
Oh,
just.
once
click it.
they started it, the link gets sent to you and then you send them a link?
It sends it to whatever email you want it sent to. So they could send it to their friend or their colleague.
Mhm.
Juanita, they could share the link. Once they save it, the link will come up. They can share it
Okay,
by sending it to a colleague.
okay. I'm
Okay.
just a little low tech, so that's why
No,
I'm,
no, that's fine. That's fine.
No, they're good questions because I've had the link expire. Because I made a change on it. So I think we need to just try it and there's a box here for any suggestions to improve the form. So we know the problems that
yeah,
they,
that's cool, yeah.
I don't know. I think the best thing we can do is to try it and see what kind of, difficulties people are having. I mean,
It
if you
looks good.
if you sit down and do it right at one time, I mean, I think it's fine. I just think people would want to come back to it.
Yeah, I mean, I think people
Yeah.
want to look at it first. And yeah, I guess. Of course, along the way, can they print out stuff along the way or,
Yes,
oh, so that might help. Yeah, okay.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
But what
that's
they have
probably
to
the way-
do to print it is they'd have to save it,
Yeah,
get the link, and when it opens, it comes up with a PDF file that you can print or save. So they have to do that extra step. They can't print it right from here unless they, right click and print, but it's not gonna look the way it's supposed to.
Is there any way along the way, for example, somebody does this online, the whole thing, and they forgot something because they didn't see it, whatever. Is there something that says you can't submit it because all, you know how,
Oh, yeah. So like right now I hit save and it's not gonna let me because
okay,
I didn't fill out the information, the information that has a star next to it.
okay. Oh, right, I see those. All right, that's good.
But if they forgot like to put in the committed funds, that won't stop it because it doesn't have a star
Yeah.
as mandatory. So anyway,
Well, why
that's it,
wouldn't that
kids.
have a start? Don't we want to know if they have committed funds when they could write none?
I guess, well, I mean,
You could put 0.
we put 0.
Yeah,
I mean, if you want, we can make that a mandatory.
because that's a thing that's important to us if they have, I mean,
All right, so you want them to either give a dollar amount or a 0. Something filled in this block.
well, it says committed fund, what usually when you get the hard copy of some of these applications, when the question is asked, they'll write none. Some of them have said none.
Okay, so you want this to be a required field.
How does everybody else feel about that?
We also want to make sure that if there are committed funds, that they could tell us, I would think.
Well, yeah, I would assume that, yeah. I mean, that's what
Oh.
usually, yeah.
A straight report, yeah.
Okay, I can do that.
Karen, is there place in the application where they can say that, oh, they've got 200,000 and 50,000 coming from this funding pot, and another 150,000 coming from some foundation, or is there only the ability for them to give us a total other funds committed?
No, this is a multi-form line, multi-block line, so they
Uh-huh.
can just list them right here, committed funds from all sources
Yep.
and agency. So,
Hmm.
Do we want to request that they do that?
so are you agreeing that yes, we should make that a mandatory question?
Or maybe that instead of saying committed funds from all sources and agencies, if we list the committed funds from all sources so they know to list them, would that?
Yes. That sounds good. And to add something that says, if none, enter 0.
Yeah, that makes sense, because then that way they'll write, they don't have any funds, or that the idea that, because some of them list it, but that would make it clear.
Okay. Alrighty, I'll do that. The only thing that that isn't complete here is where people are going to drop off their applications. So hopefully we should know this week if Pat Sullivan has come up with a space for us, or we'll do the election office again. So we have a little time on that.
I thought aren't these all gonna be submitted electronically?
Yes, but Bob likes his hard copies. So.
As do I.
Yeah, me
okay.
too, me too,
All right.
I do too.
So yes, you'll get this electronic copy?
Oh, you mean where the applicants are gonna drop off?
Correct.
Oh, I get you, yeah, never mind.
All right, so that was the other question, is how many people don't want a hard copy? Because that's what I'll put in the application.
Me,
I know, Gloria, you're like the only one, I think, that doesn't want the paper copies. Is there
I'll-
anyone else?
I don't need a paper copy either.
All right, none for Clinton either. Okay.
I like to line them all up so that I can see them all.
Rhonda, you have your hand up. Do you have a question?
Oh, no, I didn't mean to have my hand up.
Oh, okay.
No.
All right, and you want paper copies, Rhonda?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so that's 9 copies then. All right. So I don't know. I think that's it. Is there anything else you want to look at here?
Karen, it really looks visually nice, which makes it easier to read and complete. Excellent
I
job.
agree with you. It looks good.
So I
Yeah,
guess
I'm
with
pretty
that,
happy.
I would want a motion to adopt this. So,
So moved.
all right.
Second,
I'll second.
All right. So Gloria, we're taking the
Yes.
vote. Juanita,
Yes,
Ralph,
Yes.
Rhonda,
Yes.
Willie,
Yes,
Clinton,
yes.
Lamar,
is he muted?
Lamar, you're muted. No, we're not hearing Lamar. And Bob is a yes.
I think Lamar's
Oh,
cutting in and out.
Yes, now he's gone. So, all right. So good. So, I mean, obviously we may, as we go on, discover there are a couple of glitches. Oh, Lamar, you're back.
Yes, sorry,
All
my
okay,
apologies.
All right. Yep. And that's your yes vote. Okay.
Yeah.
So, we'll find out what glitches that we've overlooked as the application goes live. All right. Well, thank you, Karen.
You're welcome. Now, one more thing about the CPC plan. Do you need to vote on this? I mean, I don't know if you need to or not, but.
Well, so I'm under the impression that at the last meeting, we voted on the plan itself. This meeting, we just voted on the application and the application instructions.
Yeah. That's my
So I
recollection
think-
too.
Yeah. So I
Okay.
think we're good to
We can
go.
check our minutes, I guess, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was just these 3 paragraphs that, because of the study grant, I mean, the rewording of it. So what I'm saying is, I don't know if you need to vote on it or not, but if not, then we'll just move on.
Oh, yeah. I think, well, why don't we do it? So, yeah, because you're correct, Karen, because the study grant would go into both the instructions and I think it goes into the plan. So let's just cover all bases and have a motion to adopt the wording regarding study grant applications.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Second, all right. So for the vote, Gloria,
Yes.
Juanita,
Yes,
Ralph,
Yes.
Rhonda,
Yes.
Willie,
Yes.
Clinton,
Yes.
Lamar,
Yes.
and Bob is yes. All right. So the other thing that we have on tonight's agenda is a request from the Park Department to extend 3 of their projects, which were supposed to be done by the end of November, to being done by June 30th. And that is the Atwater Park Triangle, the Forest Park Trolley Pavilion, and Magazine Park Phase 1.
I'll make that motion.
All right, a second?
Second it.
All right, so Clinton? Let's
Yes.
start with the vote then. Yeah, Lamar?
Actually, Bob, I had a question. Can we vote on these projects individually, or are they all one lump collective?
No, we can vote on them individually if that's the committee's preference.
I just wasn't sure because I mean they're all different, different projects. I wasn't sure if we had to vote together or not.
No, I think we can lump them together unless a committee member has a issue with extending it to the end of June, then we can take them all at the same time. So unless someone has an issue with one of the 3, I think we'll take them as, you know, the motion is all 3 of them. So with that, we'll do the Clinton.
Yes.
Okay, Lamar,
Yes.
Willie,
Yes.
Rhonda,
Yes.
Ralph,
Yes.
Juanita,
yes,
Gloria,
Yes.
Bob is yes.
Judy's here
All
too.
right. Pardon?
Judy's here too.
I
Judy.
came in
What-
late.
she- oh,
I came in late.
Oh,
I
hi,
came in late. I
Judy.
apologize. I apologize.
well, that's all right.
But that- but-
Thank you, Ralph. I didn't see you, so
I know,
Judy, you're
and
voting?
that's okay.
all
Perfectly
right.
fine.
All right. So, Judy, you're voting yes on this motion?
I'm gonna say yes on the parks thing, yes,
Okay.
but not
very
the
good.
previous one, no.
Yeah. All right. So, Karen, do you have any administrators' updates?
Karen, you're muted.
You'd think after 2 years would get the hang of it, right? I don't know when you came in, Judith, but did you want a hard copy of the applications?
No,
Or just
I
digital?
did not want, just like the PDFs.
That's all you want?
However you're gonna send it, yes.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. I do not have any administrative updates, really. kind of worth mentioning. They're all in, everything is just kind of in progress. So that's it. If that's okay, unless people have any questions on anything in particular.
Well, so Karen, let me ask you this. My recollection is you had, and maybe you reported this at the last time and I forgot, that the participants in the Historic Homes Program Phase 1 have all been met with, and that Shannon Walsh and John Collins have been working on their specs, and that we can now start working on the second round of historic homes people that was coming from the money that was just passed by the city council 2 months ago.
Correct.
Yeah. So I need someone to refresh my memory. Did we make the basic decision that we're using the same lottery that we had last summer for these next 7 or 8 people? Is that correct? So we're picking, number 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, or whatever?
No.
No.
We're opening it up to new applicants, but we're taking everybody who applied for the first round and putting them into as like an automatic application. So in other words, anybody can also apply, but the people who were there before, they get repicked.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, it would probably be good for the committee, Ralph, Judy, and Rhonda, to talk about how we do this, and obviously with Karen, and how do people know that the applications are reopened, and how do they know that folks that already applied don't have to reapply?
Well, so I mean, yeah, we can definitely do that, but I guess from you, Bob, I just wanted to get the confirmation. And this is like a second round. In other words, this is like 2022 is done. This is the 2023 version, right? It's not like we're not extending the last one. It's like a new thing, right? Or
Right.
Well,
it's just
am I
reading
mincing
the-
words too much there?
It is indeed a new funding source. Correct. This is the 2023 pot of money that these people will be funded from.
Yeah. Okay.
So let me just, so what happens is the people that didn't get picked last time automatically go into the pot for the new one and
Correct.
get mixed up with all the other new ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. I was just making it clear.
Yeah. So I would just say in whatever publicity we do, we just have to say 2023 program is open. If you applied to the 2022 program, you're automatically eligible, you're automatically entered, but it doesn't mean that you can't apply, other people can apply new. That's all. We have to re-promote it as like a new program. It's not like we're just awarding more of the old program.
Right. But if anyone at this point drops out from the first program, whoever was the next in line in the first draw is still next in line.
Right.
All right.
And that's
Not-
next in line regardless of who we choose for new?
No.
When
So
you
if
say
all-
next in line, what do you mean?
So there were 196 people, right? So each one had a number.
Yeah.
One person has dropped out. We pulled 5 people, 2 people, 2 houses or properties were already selected before the lottery.
Right.
So we picked 5 names. One person dropped out, so I went down to the next number, which was person number 6. So if one of these people from the first program drop out, I would go to
Person number 7.
Yeah.
person number 7. But that's
But
just
they
for the
just get
first
lumped
program.
into the new group where there's gonna be a new lottery.
Correct.
They're not necessarily the first person
Of the
Right.
second lottery.
of the
no.
second.
Yeah, the
cohort.
second lottery is separate, but it can lead to I guess a strange situation, I suppose, that you could win the second lottery and then also be selected in the first lottery. The odds are very small, but in that case, they wouldn't get
You
the
mean
first lottery
that's-
because they got the second one.
Right. Yeah.
So the first lottery, all those people haven't gotten their money yet? Is that it?
No one's gotten their money. No
Oh.
one's done any work. I think that maybe how many people have signed the contract? I haven't seen any contracts signed yet. So
There is,
there's
Oh,
been
so
the
that's only, okay, I get you.
Yeah.
but they're all
the new-
in process.
The new pot will be all new, all set up. And so
Yeah.
somebody in the old pot, if they drop out, then it's still the old pot people.
Yeah.
Correct.
Sounds funny,
All right.
but my brain is understanding
You
it.
got it. Yeah. So, and we're also going to talk about how we're going to work the program, which we talked about a couple months ago, that we're going to rethink how this program will be structured. So whenever you want to call that meeting, Ralph.
Okay. We can do it
Yeah.
mid-February if that works for Judy and for Rhonda. I'm sorry, mid-January, I meant to say, mid-January, a couple of weeks. Does that sound all right? We'll get it.
That
before the
sounds
next
good.
CPA meeting.
Yeah, give me 2 weeks, yes.
All right.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. And it would be good for the committee to sort of give us the timeline. Like, do you think that we'll end up doing the new lottery in early April? I mean, at what meeting will we do the lottery to start working with the new folks?
Okay, we'll develop that timeline as well.
Okay. So I guess the only
Okay.
other update I have, or question really for the committee, is we have the workshop coming up for February, our February meeting. Does anyone have any suggestions on how we can do it different? I mean, we have the PDF file, spreadsheet or slideshow to show. I mean, anything different to spice it up a little bit? Any thoughts, outreach, additional outreach, any of your feedback at all would be appreciated. Anyone?
I mean, I guess I would just say, unfortunately, I think we're still sort of hampered by COVID and Zoom and all that. I personally am a bigger fan of having things done in person. I do recognize that not everybody can get to it, but I feel like there's more opportunity for just sort of talking to people afterwards. We did have a fair amount of that. Like even after the meeting broke up, people would stick around, ask questions. That's the kind of thing you lose when you do only a Zoom meeting. But I do
Yeah.
see that a Zoom meeting could be, it can be done off schedule, so you can watch it later on, which is really nice too. I mean, I think in an ideal world, it'd be kind of neat if somebody could film the live in-person meeting and then just rebroadcast it, but that sounds like it's probably harder than it's worth doing.
It's funny, our very last in-person meeting was one of those meetings. And we
Yeah.
held it someday, and it was so
It was
great.
election
because-
day. The
Yes, and
primary
then,
election. Yeah.
and
March
and there
3rd.
was a lot of snack food, people stayed afterwards, and, it was
Fun.
perfect, and then all hell broke loose, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, we could do a live one. I mean, we could.
Yeah, I mean, then we could do a live one and a taped one, I suppose. That wouldn't be that much of an extra lift. It would be just sort of somebody reading off the slides, I suppose, right? And being available for questions from a Zoom audience versus from an in-person audience.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, it's really kind of tricky because I was talking to my daughter about this today as well, because she does a lot of Zoom meetings for her organizations in Minnesota that she works with. And what she's found is, I'm sure so many people have, is there's more engagement with Zoom. People are more engaged because they have the opportunity to see what the meeting was and to watch. So, I'm hesitant about not doing a Zoom, but at the same time, for the workshop, a live workshop really works out.
Well,
I don't know.
I mean, think about the last few that we've had. We've had them on Zoom, and we got a lot of applications.
We did. And do we even have to do this anymore, the workshop? Are people
Well,
familiar?
I think most
I think
definitely we should do it. We should get the
Yeah,
information out there and do the workshop. I'm definitely a
Yeah,
supporter and advocate for that.
And just to remind that some of the the newer members, when we started doing the workshop, after Karen joined us, we did 2 workshops. And I think we made the decision after 1 year of doing 2 workshops that there really was only the need to do 1 workshop.
Well, that's because we
But-
were Zooming. We were doing the same Zoom for each workshop.
Yeah, I remember, I thought we did 2 each year for the first 2 years.
Yeah,
We did. But then it was like, okay, this doesn't even make any sense to have 2 workshops with the same content if we're doing Zoom back to back. So we eliminated one.
Well, so the other reason that we did 2 is that we wanted to sort of spread it out into the neighborhoods more, right? So we did one.
Well, right,
like,
when it was live.
we did one
yes.
at this
Mhm.
Rebecca, was it what's Rebecca School?
Was
Rebecca
that,
Johnson.
United Methodist Church on,
We did it at the Methodist Church on
State
State
Street.
Street. That
On
was
State
one of the
Street.
places we did it.
and then over in
Yeah,
16.
I mean, we
We
I'm
did it in
sorry,
St.
yeah,
I mean,
Neighbors,
they get confused in that we also, at the beginning, we would hold our monthly meeting in differing
Mhm.
neighborhood locations. So I know that we were at the Rebecca Johnson School. I don't think it was for a workshop. I think it simply was for a meeting. But I
Oh,
wouldn't
may
swear
have
to
been
that.
our annual meeting, you mean?
It
our
could
annual
have been. Yep.
Yeah, because I do remember
the-
remember being in Rebecca Johnson when Damien said that we should use funds to fix the bridge in St. James Avenue so trucks don't go through
yeah.
the
I
neighborhood.
think originally also we talked about having live meetings in each of the neighborhoods and to set that up so that we became more accessible. But then COVID hit and like. That was
and
all
we'll
gone.
probably go back to that after COVID, you know what I mean? Well, if there is,
Well,
when things open up.
well, they're open. No, I mean, I know what you're saying, Karen. I agree. I think it's probably a little bit easier for people to watch a meeting on their own timeline versus showing up at a meeting and so on. I don't know what the statistics are on that, to be honest. I don't know how many people actually do go out and watch the meetings afterwards.
Well, I mean, we can look at our own data.
Yeah, that
from
would be interesting. Yeah.
video meeting. And yeah, it does go up,
Yeah.
the views after the day, so.
I
But
also
Oh,
think that
question and answer.
Gloria?
a Zoom meeting allows anyone who watched it and then is filling the application out and says, oh, wait a minute. I need some piece of information. Something's not clicking here. They can go onto Facebook, pull up the meeting and get the information that they were looking for. You know, it's like a repeat for
Yeah,
them.
that's nice. Yeah.
So that's
But
a
keep
good
in
point
mind,
of it.
so the workshop does not have to be a fully fledged meeting of the committee. So we could indeed have a Zoom workshop, which precedes our monthly meeting in February. We can decide that Karen and 1 or 2 committee members are sitting somewhere in a physical location at a publicized workshop at a different date, if we chose to do that.
Yeah. So in other words, it doesn't have to be everybody. It could just be a couple of people.
Correct. It does not have to be a quorum meeting because it's
Yeah.
not a
Right,
meeting.
doesn't
It's
have
a
to be
workshop.
Quorum meeting, but having more members there to talk with any prospective people is nice, because you don't want just a couple members and then we have a crowd of 20 people that they're like waiting in line to talk to someone. You know what I mean? Like, that's not good either. I don't know. Maybe we look at this next year, if we do the Zoom this year and.
I mean, I would be willing to go to an in-person meeting. I have no problem doing a presentation on that. And I do feel as though we should have one in-person meeting. if we wanted to, if somebody wanted to record it, if we could figure out how to get somebody to record it and then rebroadcast it, that could work.
So the first couple times, Ralph, if you remember, and for the new people that weren't here, what we did is we had a couple people who were previous grantees, and they came and kind of went through a process of what they did to apply, the pitfalls they went through, and how they were able to craft a winnable grant application. So that was helpful. And I like the idea of maybe someone like Shannon Walsh coming to talk about the historic piece, because that can get confusing, but then we need to know who the audience is, right? If no one's there applying for historic and we have only 2 speakers and one of them is Shannon, does that even make sense? So
I think so, because a lot of people don't well, I shouldn't say a lot, but I've heard feedback that people don't understand why it's historic and not other houses. So it might be a good idea just so that people understand what's all involved in a historic application. So anybody watching will get a better idea.
Also, has anyone on here heard of StreamYard?
No.
StreamYard is another form of something like Zoom, but you can do a live broadcast and it records it, and you can also replay the broadcast. So even if you do, so I use StreamYard for, I do other people's programs on StreamYard, and you can have up to 10 people for this particular StreamYard subscription. You can have up to 10 people in what they call the studio. So like, let's say Karen is the host. Karen is on StreamYard, and we would put Juanita and Ralph in the queue, and Karen will talk about what we're going to talk about. And then she'll say, we're going to have Juanita come and talk about whatever. And you just click on Juanita's window, and then Juanita comes up and she talks about it. But the good thing is you're recording. You can stream it live and also record it, so you can play it back, and you can have it streamed to whatever, your Facebook or whatever you want to have it streamed to.
Okay, I might be missing something, but how is that different than what we're doing now?
Because I'm thinking if you do the Facebook Live, so it'll be different, because if you rebroadcast it, new people can come in and make comments on your Facebook while someone is watching it. Like I thought
so
someone
it's not
mentioned
just
how
a
they,
recording. It's not just a recording like a Facebook. Once it's over, it's a recording.
it's done. Right,
It's
but
a
you can do it live, and it saves, the StreamYard saves it as a recording. Then you can rebroadcast that recording. And let's say Karen can rebroadcast it on Facebook 3 months later, and she'll be the host rebroadcasting that. And she'll also be able to see new people who will come in on Facebook and make comments. And she'll be able to answer them live, even though it's being rebroadcast. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Wow, that's
Gloria, do you understand what I mean?
I hear
Like when
you, but I apologize. It's
No,
not
that's okay. So when we do the Facebook Live, that broadcast is done.
But
Now
people can
someone
still
go
make
back
comments.
Pardon?
People can still make comments.
They can still make comments, but one of us or Karen will have to monitor that live broadcast that's on Facebook now and see a new comment and then go back and comment. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, so let's say
Right.
this is a live broadcast now. So 2 weeks from now, someone can come on and say, hey, Mr. Slate mentioned such and such. They could put that in the comments. But if we're not monitoring it frequently, we're not gonna see that comment until whenever one of us goes and says, oh, there's a comment about such and such. It could be 2 days later, it could be 2 weeks later.
Judith,
But
let me ask, does StreamYard transcribe?
Well, the StreamYard we could do this Zoom on StreamYard. So if you're transcribing and recording on this Zoom, that will be the recording that Karen will have. The StreamYard is not going to transcribe that.
But in order to see what people commented on Streamline, don't they have to go into Streamline and see it?
No, because with StreamYard, you connect it to where you want the broadcast to go. So we would connect it to the Facebook, and it allows for people to comment. And if you're on StreamYard, you can see the comment. It's because it's connected. The only thing is StreamYard will not post a person's name. So what it will say is Facebook user says, Mr. Slate said, blah, blah, blah. What does he mean by that? And in the StreamYard, you can comment. Now,
But-
go ahead.
But I'm still confused because you have to go to Facebook to see it anyway. You wouldn't know they commented unless you went to look at it.
You would, because in the StreamYard, when you're doing the live broadcast, you will see the Facebook comments. Now, when you're doing the rebroadcast, yes, you will have to be in Facebook at the time during the rebroadcast to see any new
Interact.
comments.
Yeah.
But you won't need to see the old ones that were done. I don't know. The best way I can describe it is we're
I
on
get
Zoom
it.
now.
But now I'm questioning if there's any open meeting law discrepancy with that.
Oh,
Even
that's
if
a
you
good,
Yeah. No, I
Oh,
don't know.
that's a-
Well,
That's
they're
a
all
good
good
point.
questions. And like I said, I'm just throwing that out there. If anyone wants to learn more about it, just give me a call or send me an email and ask me. I'll be happy to show you how StreamYard works.
Is there
Well,
a
thank
fee for
you.
the
Learned
service?
something new today. I'm sorry.
I would allow you to use my StreamYard,
Okay.
so I would not charge you.
Okay, so going back,
Transcribe,
do
I
we
take it.
do we want to just do the Zoom like we did last year? Just the slideshow? Or do we want to try something different?
Well, I don't
'Cause it
see
is-
anything wrong with trying to at least get some understanding of what Judy's offered before we just nix it out of not give it some consideration.
And so let me clarify, even if you do the presentation the same on Zoom with with your PowerPoint and share the screen, the StreamYard app will share yours. So let's say I'm doing the StreamYard with your Zoom. I would put you in the studio with me, and then I would have you broadcasting your Zoom with the presentation live on the StreamYard. So
So
you
let
wouldn't
me
have
ask
to change, you wouldn't have to change how you do anything. You
So
could
I
still
want to just
do-
be clear, Judy. So
Yep.
we would still be able to do Zoom as well.
Yes,
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
yes, ma'am. And it's just my StreamYard would link to your Zoom. And it would
Oh, okay.
do, if you gave
So-
me permission to the Facebook page, I would add that to be able to live stream on the
Okay.
Facebook page.
Okay, so
I
think
just
we
wanted
need go
to
back
make
the
sure.
Yes, ma'am.
Open meeting law again.
Yeah, so
So,
that's something we would have to look into.
yeah, because the Focus Springfield is going to be putting up our videos on their YouTube page. So we'll have our own, I guess, kind of like a channel. So if we had the original Zoom that was up there and then we rebroadcast it, would we have to also do the rebroadcast and put that up on the site too? So I don't know.
And if we were to do this program, we did the Zoom, we did the other part of it. When we go to rebroadcast it, somebody would have to be live,
Right? Yeah.
right? So if somebody's live, I think we might run into something with the open law. The open
Well, what
meeting
does the
law,
open law say exactly?
that we have to that we have to provide notice 2 weeks before, correct, Karen?
48 hours.
48 hours.
48 hours, okay.
Well, that's for a full meeting at which you're going to be taking votes. I don't think a workshop pertains to this. So even if we had a workshop with only Karen and one, Karen could run a workshop by herself. Doesn't have to be us. Karen with two of us could run a workshop. The minute we want to have a discussion, a public discussion on something, that then is the open meeting law. The minute we want to take a vote, then you need a quorum and you have to do the open meeting law. But if it's simply an informational workshop, I don't believe the open meeting law would pertain to it.
That would be like if I went to one of the neighborhood groups and just gave a presentation, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it would be the same thing, right? Just going to one group and, yeah. Like we did last week, Bob, over at
16 acres, yeah.
16 acres, right? So,
Yeah, well, I think it sounds like an enhancement of what we now do on Zoom, and if that helps us reach a wider audience or is helpful to the wider audience, I think that it's something that we should be pursuing for the February workshop.
okay. So Judy, you would say on the date of the workshop, we would do our regular Zoom, and then you could use that.
I think I might be able to show you an example, but I'm not sure. If you can allow me to share the screen.
Yeah, I think you can. Mhm.
Okay. So what you may see, if I can share the screen, is you're gonna see a duplicate. Now, can you all see that?
Yes,
Yes,
Do you see yourselves?
yes.
It's
So
just a
this-
picture.
so it's a picture of us, right? So I can't share us talking.
Oh.
But this is an example of how, let me see if I can do it again. Oh, yeah, so it just showed you the picture. But that's what you would look like, but it would be live. See, because
So in
right
other words-
now I'm StreamYarding myself, so I can't show you guys.
So,
Yeah.
so in other words, you're having a second live session where you're showing the first
Exactly,
session,
exactly,
and then you're allowing for people to ask questions at the second live session as well.
exactly.
Yes.
But in order for people to do that, do they have to have this app?
No, because they'll still be on this Zoom that will be live in the Facebook. And
So-
let me see, the next.
So where
thing-
would this go? It would go where, as far as being able to access it. It would be accessible to wherever we put it, like we would just put it back up on our Facebook page again?
Yes,
Or is it go
But-
someplace else?
but what will happen is because if I do the StreamYard, right? And I'm doing it live and then I record it, it's recording while I do it live. I then have that recording, which I can download and actually email to you. And then you can upload that whole presentation and share it whenever you want, 2 or 3 weeks later on Facebook. I don't even have to be connected. It'll just share the whole thing. That's
can see where that could be.
the best way I can
Yeah.
describe it.
Karen, will you be able to upload that to Facebook?
Yes, I'm just thinking about my storage capacity on my computer right now, but the
Right.
work computer, yes.
But
the-
so even if you couldn't, you could just say, hey, Judy, can you jump on the StreamYard and replay the webinar or whatever from January 22nd? And I can say, yeah, sure, where I will put it into the Facebook, then you would be on Facebook Live with that recording playing, and you would be able to talk over it or say what you want to say. We would be in the studio together.
I can see where that could have great application.
It's just a thought, and of course, it will take a lot more thought process, but it's definitely, if I can show you how it works, or if you just Google StreamYard and try to understand how it works, that's no problem. I'd be more than happy to show anyone how it works.
Okay, so I think one of the questions I had originally was for outreach. So we use the Facebook. We have the city webpage. There's about 500 emails that we have as our
Mailing
newsletters.
list.
So a mailing list, thank you. And we use the local news to post, you know, information about it. And so what else can we do? Mass Live, Point of View. Yeah, both of those get, Lamar, thank you. Both of them get the press releases.
I put it out on Nextdoor.
Yeah. So I think we're looking for is outreach into neighborhoods. So the neighborhood councils are also notified. So I notify everyone that I think should have interest in it. But what else can we? I mean,
That's all you can do.
yeah, I mean, I guess.
Well, yeah, I mean, if the news media runs it, and if it's on Facebook and it's accessible and it's getting into the, you know, to the newspapers that are in the area, the neighborhood councils are big. What other
Maybe
kinds of,
should we go to
and we have
TikTok
a
or
mailing list of
something?
500 people who are presumably interested in this, so they're getting it. Who would we be missing?
Lamar's saying spend money on print advertising.
So the only time we do that is for the annual meeting, but I guess we could do
What
additional.
would happen if we got like a reporter to do every year during this time, a little article in the newspaper about us?
Well, it's hard to get them to do it.
Yeah,
Well, I do request it. I mean, I
Yeah.
sent it to Point of View, Mass Live, the reminder. Is it El Pueblo? The Spanish that's on Mass Live?
Yes.
And one other one. And so the reminder is pretty good. They usually pick it up and do a nice piece. So it's up to them if they wanna, you know,
Mhm.
right? Unless we want to pay for an ad, like Lamar said, and
But that would be just a
Then-
static ad, though. That wouldn't really be an article that sort of explained it.
right.
And can we do some kind of enhanced Facebook post? I've heard of them. So, and I don't think they're expensive, but maybe
promoted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we did that when we ran our CPA campaign.
Right.
It was not very expensive. I mean, I would honestly say that it is probably much better than the print, because the print ads are like thousands of dollars, where you could probably get away for $200 and probably hit everybody in
Not
Springfield
even.
who has a Facebook account.
Right, the sponsored posts, right, and
Yeah.
Lamar popped up. We've done those before for the annual meeting. We've done the sponsored posts.
So I know Mass Live has had the same like geo targeting, where you can shoot out You can shoot out an ad based upon zip codes, the same way Facebook does on Mass Live. Also, USPS does the same thing.
Well,
We can send
well,
a
that would
mailer.
be good. I mean, clearly, we're only interested in reaching people who reside in the city of Springfield. So if whatever can be done can be targeted to the, 12 or 15 zip codes that are in the city, that would be good. But I don't know to what degree Facebook can hone that down.
Oh, they can
but-
hone it down probably as good, if not better than anybody.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess what I'm talking about is, yes, the neighborhood councils, that's great. But there are so many people in Springfield that aren't engaged in any of this. They're not in a neighborhood council. They're, how do we reach and target those groups of people that would like access to the grants?
A mailer, a print mail.
Yeah.
It would be tremendously expensive.
Expensive.
No, it's not. It's not. USPS does it. Post office bulk mail, and it's actually not that expensive at all.
To mail every household in the city?
Not every. I mean, you can target it just to certain households. It'd be maybe close to like $800 or so. It's not that expensive at all.
Really?
Mhm.
What kind of targeting could you do?
I mean, you could drill it down to whatever you want. The same way you do Facebook, you can drill it down. There's a map, and you can say, I want this zip code, that zip code, or the entire city, and it kind of shoots it out for you.
But if it did the entire city, wouldn't that be expensive? I mean, I don't know how we could justify just doing
Because
one or two neighborhoods.
Because they're giving you a bulk rate, a super bulk rate from the post office.
Huh.
But we have to put the mailing together?
Exactly. So you have to create the advertisement, drop it off, and they'll give you a super discounted bulk rate because they're walking the streets anyways, and they just drop it
Yeah,
off and leave it.
But I think there are something like 60,000 households in the city. So
If it's $1
We're
a
doing
household, that's a lot of money.
No, it's less than that.
If it's 50 cents a household, it's $30,000. Can't be any less than that.
Oh no, we're looking at maybe 8-9 cents because, like I said, they're walking the routes anyways. So they're
Well,
dropping
how-
off
Oh,
an
all
extra-
right, you guys, let's look at this. Okay, we just went through our community preservation plan, and you all decided what were the priorities for this year. So whatever those priorities are, maybe that's where we spend additional targeting money.
What does that mean though?
yeah.
What does that mean?
How would you prioritize? How would you send somebody to open space? Or something like that, or like the parks. How would you figure out who would?
Well, I guess, all right, so there are a lot of groups, environmental groups out there, right?
Okay, fair.
Right, and so we do some kind of marketing of environmental groups about the open space plan, maybe,
Well,
vegetables.
but I guess example, I'm hard pressed to think of any local Springfield environmental groups short of the Conservation Commission and the Park Department.
Well, no,
Well,
there are some, but we're already in touch with them. I mean, there's certainly like like the campus neighbors or the
Green
groups that go around-
space,
Yeah, the going
Green-
around doing the
Green
spraying and that kind of
Springfield,
stuff.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I
those
mean,
are
I
the
guess-
regular players, right?
Yeah,
They're
they're the regular players, but are there? I mean, I guess my question is there any benefit to targeting somebody who is not at all plugged into anything and who has no interest in being plugged into anything? I guess.
Right.
I mean, I
Well, all right,
understand.
so-
I understand you just don't want to send it out to the regular old people, but we have 500 people on our mailing list. That's not just the insiders. That seems like it's like anybody who's involved with anything, probably,
That has contacted us or has been a grantee or
right?
has filled out an application or has inquired about it. So I just collected them all.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
I mean, is there a way to get like I mean, if we sent it to any groups of people in the city, I mean, I'm not really aware of any groups per se, but like, let's say there was a group of people who, I don't know, gets together every week and plays darts or something like that. Like, maybe that would be interesting to send it to like various groups of people who get together for social / professional reasons or something. I don't know. But I'm just thinking, like, if
Well,
I'm
one of
a
the-
person who lives in a house and I'm really not involved in anything in the city, is it worth it to target me to put in an application for the CPA?
So one of the things that you all have talked about is that it's the same players that are getting CPA funds. It's the parks. It's these large for-profit vendors that are coming in. They're the regular players that always get the funds. And so one of the complaints that we got is that why can't it be open to other people, right? And it is, only maybe we're not reaching them in some way. And that's why, if we could get a little creative and look at, say, the community housing field, that there's other players that are smaller players in that field that maybe they don't know about us.
That's fair. Yeah, there could be developers that are out there, people who are doing work. I mean, certainly we used to see them in the historical commission. There were a few people who were sort of, community developers, like developers in the community, not community developers, but like the same sort of like contractors and stuff who were doing stuff. Maybe, yeah.
I mean, I guess it just takes some
What-
thinking and brainstorming.
Gloria?
Is there some activity coming up where we could have a table like we did at the Mattoon Street Festival and talk about CPA?
Oh, yeah, that's always
Good one.
a good
Although
one.
there's
And-
usually in the wintertime, there's not that stuff, but yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe it would be helpful, Karen, can you email the members of what is your distribution list? Maybe that if people will take a moment to go over it, it will trigger it and you'll think of, oh, there's this group that, that loves to play the pickleball league and they're not on the list. So,
Yeah.
So because right now we're sort of talking, we don't know who's not on the list. Or we don't know who's on the list, and therefore we can't be triggered to see who's not on it.
Could we also, I know that a lot of sort of the complaints that we've received about this have come from city council members. Could we send it to the city council members to ask for their suggestions as well? I mean, at least at that point would be, because I know, Karen, that you do a lot of outreach and I think we've done a pretty good job at reaching people, and we have had some proposals come in from people who aren't regular players, but we've then still gotten the criticism from the city council saying like, hey, we're always giving money to parks, right? Which,
Well, yeah, but once again, and I've said this several times, I would urge committee members to go to the coalition website where you have the ability to access to see what other communities spent their CPA money on. And I think you're going to find that most recreation projects, the money got spent by the park department,
yeah,
and open space was spent by the Conservation Commission, and housing was spent by the Housing Authority or some big nonprofit. So, I mean,
Right.
I guess what I'm saying is
That's
it is
lazy
not. I don't
marketing,
think.
Bob. That's lazy, is what that
No,
is.
I don't think. I know. I think you're trying to make CPA in Springfield different than what CPA across the Commonwealth is. So
Yeah, and
I
I
think
think-
CPA
I
in
think-
most communities, and it's not that those communities are lazy. I think the reality is most communities spend their CPA money with municipal departments. And I frankly don't feel like wasting my time trying to figure out how we can get more, I'm going to call it amateurs, involved in applying for CPA money. It's not of interest to me. If the committee wishes to do that, obviously it's what the committee wants. Rhonda, your hand is up.
Yes, I just want to say again, I've been on a meeting when the city council has said the same thing. And I know for a fact, people have complained to the city council about the preservation. People said they submit and they never get, chosen. And that was one of the reasons I think you all did workshops. Am I right? Because you all said people didn't submit the application correct. So my thing
Well,
is, hold on one second, Bob. My thing
Yep.
is be fair. We want to be fair. And we should most, definitely do what this committee can do to get the message out there. Now, I know maybe what Lamar said might cost a lot of money, but I agree with Karen that we can come up with some ideas, at least reaching a group. I think it was a good thing to reach out to all the neighborhood council and let them take some responsibility to reach out to their district. I think that's a great idea. I think we can also reach out to like Springfield Partners. There's other agencies that are resource agencies. We could do that. But, I do think we should be mindful that we want people to know we're trying to be fair and get the message out. Whether or not who actually puts the application in is another story.
And may I say something?
sure,
I
Judy.
think, too, and I hear what everyone is saying, but like I'm in Maple High, Six Corners. Now, we're lucky if we get 10 people at any community meeting. But our secretary is very faithful in distributing everything that comes through from City Hall, from us, from anyone, any grants, any ARPA. She sends an email to everyone, not just on our committee, but whoever signs up to be in Maple High. I really think at some point, we can't make the people apply. Like we're putting things out there. I see it, and I'm here. So the things are going out.
Yeah.
There has to be some autonomy for the people who just don't want to put in the effort to actually figure out what they need to do to apply for these things. That's my personal opinion. I think the neighborhood councils do pretty well letting their neighborhoods know what's available to everyone. But if everyone in the neighborhood does not take advantage of that, I don't think that should be our responsibility. My 2 cents.
Right. That's why I said I think the neighborhood councils are doing a pretty good job. And I think it was good to give them some of that responsibility to do that.
So the sort of,
If I recall, one of my favorite project, the playground at, I'm blanking out on it. I'm saying it's my favorite. The one, the playground with the gas, Westminster. They had the idea, and didn't they go to the council and find out how they could get the money? And that's how it happened. So if you have an idea, suppose you have an idea for whatever whether you're in a group or whether it's your neighborhood, and then you're going to try to seek out something, then whether you go to your city councilor or you go to your neighborhood council, they will direct you to us. You know what I mean? So I feel like if you really, there's enough people out there that would direct somebody who has an idea to us.
yeah, the criticism that I recall hearing from, and I don't remember who the city councilor was, but I almost got the impression that the criticism was a little bit off base, because the way I think it was sort of, part of it was true. You're saying like, hey, a lot of this money is going to the city in the form of the Parks Department, right? Now, I understand why that's true, because it's very hard to spend open space and recreation money on a private project. It's been done before, but it's very rare, right? And then they sort of said, we want to be getting the money into the hands of the Springfield residents, or getting the hands of the people. And it almost sounded like individuals getting the money. And that's the part that seemed off base, because, usually the projects are sort of greater good type projects.
Mhm.
So it's not really individuals getting money. It may be individuals doing project, but the way the counselor described it was individuals getting money, and that's not really it, I guess. I mean, I know we're doing that with historic homes. I know we're doing that with down payment assistance to a certain extent, but I don't know. And I know that certainly members of the public don't have the right idea in a lot of cases as to what the money could be used for. We did have about 2 years ago, maybe it was 3 years ago, right before COVID, where we did get an influx of people who, maybe Bob would call amateurs, but people who were kind of off the beaten path a little bit. And some of those were just not really good proposals, for sure. Somebody wanted to do like an education program, if I remember right. Or then there was the wood recycling program, and they were not even anywhere close to what we could fund. It was interesting. We got the application from the woman, and I don't remember her name, on was it Bay Street? Bob, can you refresh my memory on that one?
Or
in McKnight,
what
remember the one
project?
where we said that they had to come up with all the money first before we released
Oh.
any money to them?
Oh, yeah, the Trinity House.
Yeah, that was one that I thought was a little bit off the beaten path.
And
we
we
got
funded
them from Paula
we
at
did
School
fund
Street.
that one, correct?
What's that?
We did fund that.
Yeah, but I thought that was an example of a good proposal that we got by really beating the bushes that year. I don't know how we got that. I don't feel like we got any of those last year or the year before. I mean, maybe it's just because of COVID and people aren't really as activated. I don't really know. But I felt that year we got a few of them that were, we got a few that were crazy, but we also got a few that were not the regular players too.
Well, maybe Ralph, what you're saying, I hear what you're saying, where the people, more money into the hands of the people, right? So we have the housing program and the historic homes. So maybe, like that kind of flavor is what is being meant by that. I mean, I don't know what else it could be other than.
Well, I just don't think that criticism is necessarily fair. And I think though that when people like Paula from School Street apply, she's not sort of in the know, I don't think. Or when the woman on Trinity House applied, I don't think she was really one of the regular players. I think those are good. That was a good example of outreach. I'm sorry.
Well, I don't
Gloria.
think we did outreach, Ralph. I mean, I don't think we reached out to those individuals and said, "Oh, you should apply." They somehow heard of the program.
Right.
Through our outreach.
Gloria's got her hand up.
Gloria.
Yeah, I think everybody always feels that you can do a better job in outreach. I'm not quite sure how we could do that here. We do get a significant number of applicants, and even applicants who submit an application and there's something wrong with it, we always provide feedback on what you could do to change it, what you're missing. It's not like we just look at it and say, no, this is incorrect. This isn't what we can do, and rubber stamp it, declined. We provide, no, this project does not fall under the purview of the CPA. Or, yes, we like this project, however, the budget needs to be reworked. Things are missing, you need to, whatever, get neighborhood consent, or get a letter from the neighborhood, or talk to the park department. We do all of that. But I think it's also easy for people to say, you have to do more. Or you didn't do this right. You should do this. That's just basic common criticism that we're always going to get. And while we're sitting here talking, we're going around and around trying to beat ourselves up, I think, when we already do a decent, good job of what we're doing. It goes out to the city councilors, it goes out to the neighborhood councils, it goes out to all people within the community, it goes out into the newspapers, all of that. Maybe the only thing else we could do is talk to the park department and see, do they have groups that rent from them in Springfield, that we could get a contact name for them and send out information directly to them. Like you were saying, pickleball. Maybe there's somebody in charge and we could do that. I
Maybe we
just,
could ask all our people to just forward this email, because I'll send them that it's coming up, just to forward the email to their groups as well as this committee, you know.
right. That's all. I mean, that's all we can do.
So I have one question for Judith. Now that I'm thinking about your streamline thing, I'm wondering, okay, so what if we just held our regular meeting for the workshop, whatever day it's going to be, I think the 2nd or 3rd of February, and then mention at the time that it will be rebroadcast. So if anyone has questions, that a couple members of the committee will be available to answer your direct questions. Like,
Of course, that's
with some-
possible.
right, so that we have an interactive at the rebroadcast. So people have had a chance to already maybe look at the original broadcast. And then if they have questions, we let them know that they can get some one-on-one questions answered on the rebroadcast, in 2 weeks.
Yep. Yeah. Have a date at the end of the live broadcast where you say, this is going to be rebroadcast on February 12th, 2023 at 7 p.m. And there will be a live person to answer any questions you have.
Maybe that's like the nice sweet spot combination of doing a live event.
And I was just thinking too, while we were talking, that you wouldn't even need StreamYard. Like, you could go back to this recording, share it on the Facebook, and say, this is the recording from the meeting of January 3rd. My name is Karen, and I'm re-showing this recording. And if you have any questions, please feel free to make a comment. I don't even think you need to do StreamYard. I was thinking about that while we've been talking. So you can go to the page right now, and you could even go to Focus Springfield right now and just share the last meeting. And
Right, I could do
you can share it live. So
it wouldn't be live, like I wouldn't be live on it, but the
No,
opening
so-
of questions would be live, right?
well, one of us would have to be live on it. So what I was thinking while we've been talking is, for example, I want to give an example of the Conservation Committee
Meeting to order at
meeting.
5:05.
So you can hear Juanita talking. So if I can still share the screen. So what you can do, because we're on Facebook right now, correct?
Right.
So if I'm sharing this screen right now,
And
Now
so
I'm
we can
sharing the
continue this
meeting.
conversation, apparently the
correct? So everyone
The-
can hear and see the meeting.
Forest Park and Bass
Right.
Pond.
Well, before we get to the agenda, I'm just gonna call the roll.
Oh, okay.
You
That's
see
right.
what I'm saying? So
Oh,
everyone,
I
heard-
see what you're saying, Judy.
you don't?
I do.
Okay, yeah, so I'm sharing a meeting from the 13th.
With Juanita from the
Right,
conservation.
exactly. So here we're sharing this, we can hear her speaking.
Commissioner Collins.
And this is actually being on our live today. So what you could do is, I'm gonna stop sharing now. We don't even need the StreamYard. You can just go back to the meeting that is on Focus Springfield. And 2 weeks later, you can just preface the new Facebook Live with, this is already been recorded on Focus Springfield on December 13th. However, we wanted to rebroadcast this for live in case anyone had any new questions or any new things. So we don't even need the StreamYard. You could just use your
Oh.
Focus Springfield presentations.
I'm impressed, Judy.
Yeah. You go. So that opens up some possibilities there, Judith. because maybe people don't know what their questions are until after they've seen the whole presentation. And not everyone makes comments or asks questions because it's not a webinar, you know?
Right.
But I would need committee members willing to be live at that meeting to answer questions.
And even when you do a presentation live on the Facebook that we're all on, you can rebroadcast. Hey, this is the new application. We went over this a month ago. I just want to rebroadcast this for anyone who has any questions. And you can show it
Just
again
sit there and wait until someone shows up, right?
and you'll be on Facebook seeing live comments and posts come up.
I do it.
So we don't even need the StreamYard. We could just go to Focus Springfield and rebroadcast things.
All right, so that's an option. So I don't know if there's anyone else that wants to weigh in here, or you know, if we want to decide what to do. I mean, I have the slideshow. It needs a little tweaking, but I don't know. Do we want to decide what to do, or it's up to you guys?
I think we just go with the slideshow. The only thing I would suggest is that we don't keep switching every screen and having a new person talk. Maybe just have 2 or 3 people do the presentation.
Well, we were trying to give everyone an opportunity, Gloria. That's
Is
okay.
it possible that we could ask, though, folks to put questions in writing, and therefore the answers are in writing? And the answers then are posted on the Facebook account? So Mary Jones asked, did it, and the answer is da-dot.
Well, isn't that a post with a comment and an answer? Like,
Maybe someone can email Karen in advance if they know what is happening. And then when Karen does the Facebook Live, she can say, Judith Crowell of Maple High Six Corners asked about the historic district, blah, blah, blah. So the answer to that is, and that could be part of her presentation. That's a thought.
yeah.
Gloria, you're
Yeah, that-
muted if you meant to say something.
Hmm. So that is, we could put that on the city webpage to email your questions, and they'll be read live and answered. So that's another option. So can we get this all together in like 3 weeks? Maybe 4 weeks.
That's a question for the techies to answer. I mean, clearly the workshop's presentation is we have that as the PowerPoint. So the question is whether these augmented things that we're talking about doing can be put together. I don't know the answer to that. A Karen and probably a Judy question, or someone else on the committee who's more tech savvy than I am.
It can be done in a time frame that we designate. I don't think it would be a hardship to just the emails. If you're going to have someone email Karen in advance, then they would need to have that information on the city's website. But besides that, it will be up to Karen how she wants to go through the emails and how long that would take. But other than that, I don't think it should take too long. What do you think, Karen?
Well, no, and I mean, judging from the kind of responses that we've got from the annual meeting, there's not that many people that respond.
Okay.
So, the thing is that for our Facebook page, I can't put my personal, like it doesn't go out to my particular Facebook friends. It goes just to the people who have liked our page. So maybe doing an outreach post through Facebook and with mentioning that to send your questions to, maybe that would be helpful. Send the email to
I'm talking to myself. What if when we sent out our information, the application is live. We are going to have a workshop on such and such a day. If anybody has questions that they would like answered prior to the meeting, the workshop, please leave a comment on our Facebook page and one of the committee members will get back to you. And a link
as good
that
as we're gonna
shows
get.
the Facebook page. What did you say, Ralph?
I said, that's probably about as good as we're going to get.
I think so.
I mean,
I
the
really
sad
do
reality
like
is
the
that
idea.
there aren't a lot of people who are super interested in this stuff. I've posted stuff on Facebook or on Nextdoor, and I get almost no response.
Yeah.
Yeah, same for me.
I don't know where else to really kind of go.
I mean, I love the tabling. I love to table just because I'm a political junkie anyway. So I love tabling. It is fun. But like you did mention there's a farmer's market inside, right? Tower Square. I mean, so that's a thing. I
Yeah.
guess it would just be more to do more
Boots on the ground.
action,
Yeah.
more action. And the summertime is always great for that. But our cycle, of course, is over by that time, or we have our applications by that time.
Yeah, but they
So-
could be thinking about it for the following year. You could have it in the
Yeah.
summertime and
No, I like the idea of a farmer's market if there are a couple of those.
there's a
Well-
winter farmer's market in Forest Park too.
Yeah,
And
are there,
in-
are there elsewhere in the city?
There
I
is
don't
the
know.
winter farmer market at Forest Park, isn't there still?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's one. I mean, we want to try to get across the whole city. I don't know what other kind of indoor opportunities there would be in other parts of the city.
Well, I mean, Lamar did mention that, the Martin Luther King and Black History Month is coming up and there's some tabling possibilities there too. But then that would go through the month. Well, that brings us almost up to our application deadline, which is March 30th. So we're looking for something between now and second week of March, maybe.
Yeah.
So people could just, if you have any ideas of where there's any kind of events that we could do something at within the next 6 weeks, that would
mhm.
be good.
I guess I'm in agreement with Juanita in that this is a long-term awareness. My guess is if someone hasn't already put in some good thought into a proposal, if they only hear about us next week, a month and a half is not enough for them to get an application together.
That's a good point.
So I don't think that, I'm not saying let's not have a table at some of these events, but if it means that they're not ready to apply in 2023, they at least know about us for
Mhm.
2024.
Yeah, that's a very fair point. And that's maybe unfortunate is that maybe we do need to back our publicity off a little bit from the application deadline date, because maybe a month or two, even 2 months isn't enough time to put together a credible application. If you have to go and talk to, your constituent, your local constituency and talk to the city and gather support. Yeah, that's tight.
Get your letters, meet with the park department, all of those preliminary
Mhm.
steps.
Yeah,
Good
So
point.
maybe we gear up in the summer and do several during the summer, which will give them ample opportunity for the next cycle. Where you're gonna get a lot more people because the weather's nicer. And there are a lot more opportunities to do outreach.
yeah. It's a good way to
Mm.
look at it.
Well,
right,
this has
well-
been a great conversation just for brainstorming, which we haven't done in a
Mhm.
long time. It was just a brainstorm session. So thank you all for that. All right, so I'm going to adjust the slideshow we're going to use. I'll get a Facebook a post up that's sponsored post with some details about the workshop and any questions you may have to send the email to. And I'll send it out to our usual press and email list. And if you could also forward it to, when I'll send it to you, and if you could forward it all to your own networks as well. And the networks within the neighborhood councils. So maybe that is about what we could do this year. So we added a couple elements.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okie dokie. So unless anyone has anything else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
so moved.
All right, second?
I'll second it.
Second, and people can just either wave their hand or yell out on their phone, yes, so,
Yes.
okay.
Thank you, everyone.
All right.
Yes.
You
Very
take
good.
care of
So we'll-
yourself, Bob. Take care of
Yeah,
yourself.
thank you.
Yep.
Yep.
Happy New Year,
So-
everyone.
Ah,
New
thank
Year.
you. Happy
So-
New Year.
So the
Happy New
February
Year.
meeting, the February meeting will start at 6 o'clock. The first part of it will be the workshop, and then we will have our formal meeting following the workshop. Okie dokie.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.